Hi everybody, and welcome along to what I think is part 3 of our Nature Journal starter kit. Last time we put some papers together in a signature and folded this over so we've got a really nice cover and spine down there. So what I want to do this time is have a look at these papers that we put together. Now I made a bit of a boo-boo last time, and some of you may well have spotted it. As you collect papers in a signature, they walk because they can't all get into the same V as the cover, so they walk outwards like this. And generally what you do is just trim them off and go about your way. But what I've done incorrectly is folded these over here, so when I come to trim them, this bit's going to drop off. Now I've got two choices. I either just open them up and trim them, or I refold them. I've already got a crease in there, so I don't know how well that would take to being refolded. But I think I'll do that for the time being, see what happens, see what it looks like, and if I can get away with it. I don't think I will be able to, but you never know, that might be okay. And then I can, look back on it in future. This one's fine, it's got an edge on it. This one's okay, and this one's okay. This one, yeah, we've already cut that one. This one has been cut. And this one, yeah, same problem here. So I need to fold that in a bit more. And like I say, we can revisit it in the future and see if we can live with that, the crease that's already in it, or if we just want to chop it off flush. That's we can do that later on. So I just need to find those two on the back as well, and do the same thing to them. So this is one of them. We might be alright, we might get away with it, but if it really looks unsightly and we're unhappy with it, then we'll chop it off. That one's chopped off, chopped, just this one. So just fold that over a bit. Right, there we are. I think we should be alright to chop this down now. So what you need to do is get some clips of some description. Paper clips will work, but I have these lovely ones that Nancy sent me in my lovely little heart box. It's gorgeous, isn't it? And find your centre. Make sure they're all level top to bottom. Make sure that you've got everything where you want it to be, in order, let's say, in the correct order, and push them right down in that V and clip them there. Clip all of the pages together, like so. I don't think that's right in the bottom there. And on the top as well. Like that, and then the same with the other side, right down into the bottom of that V. Because this is how they'll be when they're sewn in. They'll be tightly sewn into the spine. So you want to try and emulate that as much as possible. That's it, by bunching them up like that. Okay, so if you just kind of offset your clips a little bit, you can get it to lie fairly flat. So the next thing to do is take a ruler and a knife, or in my case a quilting ruler and a rotary cutter, and just hold that against the edge of the front cover. And we're going to cut everything off in line with the front cover You probably won't get it all in one go, so it's best not to even try to really, just keep gently cutting. It feels like that might be almost there. Yeah, I think we're almost there. Let's line it up once more. Right with the edge. Just check you've got everything. Yeah, that's it. So all of that can just go straight in the bin. It's just slivers of stuff. And let's have a look and see what we've got. Oh, there, doesn't that look nice? Nice and straight. It's beginning to look like a journal. Just questioning whether that's actually... I don't think it's still square enough. So I've still got it tightly held in my hands this time, and I'm just going to go down there because it just doesn't look square to me. No, not square. Let's have a look and see. Yeah, okay. See what that looks like now. Yeah, that I'm happy with that. That's lovely. Yeah. So get rid of all of this. So you can see how it builds up in the inside. It's quite a lot really that comes off, just because of the way that it folds. So that's that. We've got a nice tidy journal now. Lovely. So I can just set that to one side for the time being. Put my clips away. There we go. Now then, the next thing that I want to consider is the cover, the actual cover itself. And we've folded it to where we want it. We put the spine in, we've got this little fold at the back, but we're going to have to cover it in something. So the question is, what? So I have selected two of my journal pages from the scrapbooking kits that I'm using. These ones here. This is it's on the back side, which is really nice, and it's floral, so it's unlike me to go for the other side, but I do actually really like it. And I've got two of those. It comes with two in each pad, and I think that would be the perfect thing to cover the journal with. So what we need to do is, what I'm proposing to do, I've got sewing machines and keyboards and all sorts of things here, is go right from there, right around to the centre of the spine, and then do the same thing with the other one. Then when we've finished, we can stitch or stick a piece of lace down there which will cover the joints and everything else. So that will be fine. So now it's just a question of measuring this. Well, we know that our file folder measures 8.5 inches tall, and I want a border around it. So if I make it 8 inches, I'll have 1/4 inch border all the way around it, which might be just a little bit too much. I don't know. Let's have a look and see what that would look like. It would look like that. It's quite nice. Or an 1/8, which would be that. Quite like the 1/8 actually. 1/8 inch all the way around it. So what I'm proposing to do is cut it out in panels. Cut a panel for this, a panel for this, and then see where we are then, what we want to do with the spine. So let's cut it off at 8 1/4 inches first anyway. Let's pop this journal to one side for the time being. So I'm a bit cramped for room today. 8 1/4. I'll get my big ruler out. My big giant ruler actually. So let's get it to 8 1/4. Which is there. And cut that off. Which leaves us a really nice remnant, which I'll put back in my project box. Now then, the next thing we need to measure is the size of this flap, and it measures in total 3 inches. So I need it 2 3/4 inches to give me 1/8 of an inch all the way around it. So 2 3/4 inches. Right, so 2 3/4 inches. Wow, that's impressive. I actually remembered that. So let's square that up. That was a long way off square. I don't know what I was thinking of there. 2 3/4. Okay, let's cut that then. Lovely. So that hopefully will fit there really nicely. And it does. And I'm glad we went for the 1/8 of an inch all the way around. I think that's sufficient. I like the green file folder showing. It's the perfect colour, so great, that's that. So now onto this piece, which measures in total 6 1/2. So we want it 6 1/4. 6 1/4. Sure you've got it square and straight, and there we go. Lovely. So that should fit. Let's just test it. Let's test the theory. Oh yeah. Oh my goodness, look at this. So that will be the very front, that piece that we've just done. Now this little piece here, we should be able to definitely look. I mean, we can get that out of there, no problem. So let's just see where I need to cut that to. This measures 1 1/2, so I need 1 1/4 out of this. I'm going to cut it out of here because it's got that really nice distressed sort of look to it, which I like. 1 1/4 inches. I just don't really want to foul up with this because it's my paper pad that I can't just replace so easily, so I'm being very careful. So yeah, look, that's gorgeous. Fantastic. So the only bit that we've got to do now is this bit here. And obviously I'm not going to get it out of this, but should we decide to cover the spine, that will be enough for the spine. So I'll leave that for the time being. Get my other piece. Oh yeah, I've got this piece. That's not enough. Don't be silly. This piece. So I need to cut this off at 8 1/4 first off. Well, actually, I'm going to cut a piece out of it. 8 1/4 by what I guess is 6 1/4, but let's have a look. So yeah, that's 6 1/2, so 6 1/4. So I need a piece that's 8 1/4 by 6 1/4 to go on the back. So I'm just going to measure it like this, then I'm going to cut it out with my knife, which will give me slightly bigger remnants to work with. 8 1/4 by 6 1/4. There we go. Right. Do be careful with your knives, please. They're very sharp and accidents can happen. So there we are. So we've got that remnant left, which is a good remnant, good sized piece to have. So let's just make sure that that is right before we move along the bus. Yep, lovely. Well, that's hate to say it, but it looks like it's all going rather well. It's up to you whether at this stage you want to ink or not. I think I'm just going to use my, I don't know whether to use my vintage photo or my walnut stain. Walnut stain's quite dark, maybe a little bit too dark. I'll stick with the vintage photo, I think, and just ink around it because they've got this white edge on where you've cut, which is not attractive. So I might, if I get clever, whiz by this bit in the video. Well, rather, Mr. F might whiz by it, because it's a bit boring just watching me ink, ink, ink. And after I've inked them, and after you've inked yours, you have the question to ask yourself, do you want to stitch around them or not? It's definitely not mandatory. You can make this journal without any stitching at all, apart from obviously sewing the signature into the spine, but without any machine sewing. But if you want to, now's a good time to start. So I'm going to stitch mine so you can see what it looks like, and then maybe I can persuade a few of you to actually move over to the dark side and start stitching. Because it's really fun, it's lovely, and it does look nice on a journal, I think. Just adds that finishing touch to it, doesn't it? So there's a bit of a pain inking everything, especially when you've got quite a lot to do all at once, but it's just another thing that finishes it off nicely. I like this green card. I think it's going to be a nice, for our cover. I'm hoping that a lot of you have received your starter kits now. The postal service to America is absolutely rubbish. But right, so what I'm going to do now, I've selected to use quite a light cream colour. So I think it'll show up against all the browns and greens and everything that we're using. And I'm just going to use a straight stitch, which I'm going to move over to the right hand side so as it's more on the edge. And I'm going to select a lock stitch, start and finish, which you may have or you may not have, and just I'll just start here. So that's it, doing the lock stitch. To the corner. So it is good if you can stitch, and it's just really straightforward stitching. The only thing different that you might not have done before is stitch on paper, but believe me, it's loads easier stitching on paper than fabric because it doesn't move at all. So it's really easy. Okay, so here I am back from the machine. I've got everything sewn around. Just need to clip the loose threads off. We had the most beautiful day here yesterday. It was like a summer's day, to be honest. Really warm and pleasant, and no breeze even to speak of, and the little lambs were playing in the fields. It was idyllic. And today we have an icy blast straight from the Arctic. So I hope everybody made the best of the summer that they had yesterday. However, hopefully it will come back. We're only just into April, so hopefully it'll come back at some stage. Right, so here we are. Let's have a look at these. So this one's going on there. Yeah, quite nice. I quite like the back now, actually. But no, that's not what we're using. Come on, we're using this one. But before we stick any of these pieces on, we need to think, is there anything else we're going to sew on them first? Because if there is, we need to get that sewn before we stick it down. Otherwise the stitching will come through and it won't look very nice, etc. So it's worth just giving that a little moment's thought. Do we want to put a little pocket on there with something in? That might be quite nice. Let's have a look through the papers that we have. See if there's anything I can see that grabs me. Well, these are all very nice, but I think they might be a bit too wide. Oh, I don't know. I think they're actually perfect. I might use one of those then. Just as a little pocket. As I'm looking through, I see this, the front of this. Oh, that would make a perfect tag. Yes, it would. Right, so that's going to be a tag. Let's... Oh yeah, and these words. I was thinking of cutting this one out, Natural Vibes, for the actual name of the journal itself. Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself now. Let's just concentrate on what we're going to use for this pocket. Well, you know, I can't really get past that blue tip, if I'm honest with you. It's just perfect. It would be lovely on there. Might need trimming down a bit, but there is a bit of room to trim it down. So let's just cut that out first and see what that looks like. I like all these little squares and stuff that you get with this kit. It's nice. It would be perfect if this worked. Right. Oh, I'll chop the top off. So would that fit on there? It just needs a little bit chopping off it, but then it would fit on there and it would look gorgeous. So I'm quite pleased with that. Let's chop a little bit off. I'm going to get my quilting ruler out just to make sure it's square, because as you know, I can't cut for toffee. I cannot cut for toffee, so get that lined up and hope that it's square along the bottom. Just trim a little bit off there. I'm trimming probably 1/8 of an inch off there. Let's trim the same off on the other side. About there. Let's have a look and see what that looks like. Well, it goes over the stitches, and I think I would prefer it if it was inside the stitches actually. So, going trimming again. Let's hope there's something left of this blinking bird by the time I've finished. Yeah, he's still looking alright. So if I had that just inside, yeah, I just need a whisker off down there. And that would be lovely. Let's take that off. And I'm just going to trim the top and the bottom because it had a sort of frame all the way around it, and of course now I've removed the sides, the frame on the top and bottom looks wrong, so I'm just going to cut that off. It's pretty exciting if this is our first pocket in our journal. Wow. Let's just pop those in the bin. There we go. Let's have a look. Oh, it just needs the merest whisker, I think. Still, I had kind of hoped I'd got that sorted, but just a touch. The merest whisker. I do know that birds don't have whiskers, incidentally. I do know that. Right, that should be him sorted now. I could have measured it in the first place, which would have been an easier way round really, wouldn't it? Yeah, that's fine. He's going to go there. And I probably want to, well, at least stitch on the top. I could put it right at the bottom. I quite like that right at the bottom, actually. Even if he's not a pocket, I really like it there. So where were these long, thin ones? They were on the cover, weren't they? Yeah, they were here. Let's see if these fit. Well, they're not going to fit without quite a bit of trimming. But I could trim. But I think it's a bit of a waste of that fox, really. I don't want to do that. I could do that one. Oh no, it's got that at the top. Okay. Okay. I might just stick that down there, just as pure decoration and nothing else. So I could put it there, I could put it in the middle. I'm going to sew across the top and I'm going to stick it 3 sides in, you know, down, so it's a pocket, ostensibly. So that's that. I don't think I need to sew around the other edges because they'll start to conflict with the edges on the thing, so I'm happy with that. Trim these ends off. And I think I will just trim that one off properly. Yeah, I think I'll stick that down there, awaiting something to go inside it, and I'm pretty sure we'll find something to go inside it. Even if it's just one of these sort of sayings. I don't want to put the ones in, well, I was going to say I don't want to put the ones in a foreign language, but actually I quite like some of them. So I might. I have a dream. Yeah. We all have dreams. Life is good. Yeah, you see, that would make a nice little one in there, wouldn't it? Yeah. Okay, anyway up. This is getting stuck down. Something is going to happen. Something positive. Otherwise it's just going to be prevarication after prevarication, and nothing is going to get actually done. So he's going there, like that. Lovely. And there we have it. Our first little pocket of our journal. And he's gorgeous. Couldn't be any nicer. Couldn't be any sweeter than that little tit there on my panel. Now, let's just put these away for a second or two. Do I want anything else on that panel before I stick it on? I do not believe that I do. Have we worked out how we're going to close this? That's a good question, isn't it? Yeah, might be some ribbon, a ribbon closure, which we could put all the way around on the outside when it's finished, or we could attach under the panel as we're sewing it on, which might look a bit tidier. I think, yeah, okay, let's consider that. For the moment, the question is there anything else that needs to go on here? And there isn't. There isn't. I can mess around and audition stuff all day long if I want, but that's it, and it's going to get glued on. Hooray! Ah, you say, what about sewing on the green on the file? No, I'm not going to sew on there because I'm sewing on the panels, so don't need to sew on the file. As I tell you every time, be sure and get some glue over those stitches because they are always the most resistant part. I've no idea why. They're just awkward. I'm using Collal glue, Collal multi-purpose glue. It's, in this country, it's about 1/3 of the price of Fabri-Tac, and frankly, it does every bit as good a job, except it's not quite as horrible to work with. It doesn't get all gloopy. And it gives, it gives you time to think about things. In fact, it's sometimes better if you give it a minute or two to think about things. Just let it sort of tack up a bit. So let's get this placed on here where we want it, which is about there. Yeah. Yes, we're making progress in our journals. I'm so happy there, I burst into song. Come on, what's going on? I don't think so. So I'm just pressing around the outside, sort of pushing inwards so as the glue doesn't come too splodgy out and there's not a drop of glue there. So I'm going to get my bone folder out that Fancy Nancy sent me. This is the bone folder of all bone folders. It has some heft, I can tell you. And it's Teflon, so nothing sticks to it. It's absolutely brilliant. Best bone folder I've ever had in my life. And I'm not intending ever replacing it till the day that I actually pop my clogs. So it will be somebody else's problem. What do we do with the bone folder? Oh dear. I don't even imagine that they will ask such questions. It'll be more like, just get the black bag out and get everything to the tip. All my best possessions, can you imagine? I'll just come back and haunt them. That's the thing to do. Well, we went out yesterday, which is, for me, a rare occurrence, really. I've been shielding. I've been in the specially shielded group, or whatever you call them, I don't know. Extremely vulnerable, that's the one. So I haven't been out very much at all. To be honest, I don't go out very much at the best of times. But yesterday, Mr. F saw on Facebook that someone in the next town, we don't live in a town, but we live close to a village. And the next town along from the village, if you get my drift, there was a lady there and she was selling, I think it was 24 of the CD-ROMs, the crafting CD-ROMs that's got all the images on. And I think she said they were £2 each, or you could have them all for £30. So, yeah, of course, I want all of them. I want them all for £30. We are desperately trying to get rid of our stash of stuff. But yeah, no, I needed these 24 CD-ROMs, and I'll show you them on one of the lives at some stage. There's some really nice ones. And it is my ambition, whether this ever comes to fruition or not, to actually use each of them and make maybe like the little bee journal that I made with the ring band with the rings at the top that flip up, because that was nice. That was a nice thing to make. It was relatively quick and painless, and I think it'd be nice to use that. There's some baby ones, there's some nursery rhyme ones, which are very different to everything that I generally do. So yeah, that's kind of, I think, what may be on the horizon. Right, back to the papers from the scrapbooking kit. And I had thought this morning that this squirrel would look fabulous on there. He's just about the right size. He would look excellent. So I'm going to cut him out and see if he is all I think he is. He really would be very, very nice. I'm going to cut him out sort of loosely. So I don't want to damage any of these because these are really nice. So I'm just going to cut him in the green area. And we can see what we think. I think he'll look great, actually. Oh, look, there's an acorn there. Squirrels gather acorns and eat them. That might be quite a nice little addition. I'm just going to cut that out, actually, and see if we can fit that in. Right, so put that somewhere safe in with the rest of your goodies. So this is our panel for the front. He's just a little on the large side there, but if I cut him down to the edge of the brown, I think he'll be fine. And then I've got this, which I've just discovered. It says sacred geometry. Come on, woman. Just speak. Yeah, it's obviously a difficult word, that. Sacred geometry. I don't even know what it's doing on there, to be honest. But it is. So I'll cut it out as well, and we'll see if we can fathom a way to get both of those on. Might be it's not possible, which is fine. We'll see. Right, I'm going to use my knife for this, because it gets in tighter than the rotary cutter. And just edge up that brown there. Might be we don't even want the brown. Might be we want to cut the brown off as well. These are all decisions. And they all take time. You have to give each one good thought, good thinking time. I'm giving you good thought. Yeah, well, excellent. Oh, he's really nice, this squirrel. Or Rusty, as Jen and Mike call them, Rusties. Is the red. Let's just get rid of those. Shut the blade on my knife would be the sensible thing to do. Okay, so let's have a look at this fella on there. Oh, he's very nice. I don't know if I want these acorns on. I don't think I do, actually. So I'll pop them back in the pile of not today, thank you. Let's have a look and see if we can find a word, because this is the very front of our journal. So let's have a look and see. I don't even know how you pronounce some of these. I had enough problem with geometry. I'm still liking natural vibes. I still think I'm going to cut that out. And it's right on the back of the squirrel. which is a bit of a shame. Let's just make sure I definitely want that. Yeah, I definitely want it, so I'm going to have to cut it out. Oh, what a tragedy. What a tragedy. Well, it's just got to get cut out, and that's all there is to it, I'm afraid. So have to live with it sometimes, don't you? I mean, when you're cutting into Edith Holden, because invariably her best images are on the back, or back to back with each other, and you have to make that decision. Which one are you going to sacrifice? Oh, sometimes that takes a few days to think about. So that's not squared off yet, but I think it would. I think that's nice there. It's simple, it's plain, but it's very nice. So I'm just going to cut round this. Sometimes you don't have to get too clever. Sometimes you do. Right, there we go. I've followed the line along there and I don't like it particularly, actually. So I'm going to cut it off square. Followed the line of the image, but I don't like it. That's not very helpful, is it? Back to the scissors. Right, okay. I think I need to just round these corners, just to match with the other side. That's fine, I think. I'll see how much can you fuss over one little bit. It is on the front though. Yep, you're right. That just does not want to. I'm going to end up with no word in a minute. I think I'm going to have to take a bit more off there because I am very, very close near the knuckle there. Yeah, let's just trim a little bit off. Yeah, okay, finally got there. That I was using is called a corner rounder. Mine's X-cut, but you get all different ones. This is a size large, you get medium and small and whatever. I've had this for ages and ages, and it really just keeps on going, so I've got no complaints with that. So, are we just literally going to stitch him there and put that there? Do we want some lace around it or something? We could put that onto lace. Put that there. That looks quite nice. See what other bits of lace I've got. Got some thin lace. I don't know, I quite like it like that. The other thing that we were considering, however, was whether we were going to tie some ribbon in behind here as a closure, and I think that's probably a good thing to do. So let's have a look and see what ribbons we've got. I've actually got this one, but I know that it's not in your kits. Because I simply didn't have enough to put it in everybody's kits. I've got some cream, which would do the job very nicely, and I think a lot of you have got that in your kits. I could use this and just ask you to purchase some if you really want the green, or just use the cream. I think I'll use the cream. It's the fairest way, isn't it? And it looks nice anyway. It looks nice and light. So I'm going to measure off about 10 inches, say, something like that. That'll be adequate. And cut that off, and another 10 for the back. Just so we can tie a bow at the side. There we go. So try and remember to stick that in before you stick your thing down. So let's do that now. Before I forget, because I'm very prone to forgetting this sort of thing, to be honest with you. I don't know where, oh, here it is. So yeah, we know that this is 8.5, so we want 4 1/4 is half of that. Hey ho. Heedy holdy, my maths is bang on. I'm going to use my friction pen, which rubs out with heat. Be easier if I did it that way. And another 4 1/4 there. And I'm going to mark it on the back too to help remind me to do it. Because as I say, I'm not beyond forgetting to do this. Right, so that's fine. So we're back to our Cyril the Squirrel. Are we going to put any ribbon, lace, anything at all? That's my bits for the... Let's just have a look at this. I quite like this. I'm wondering if I should put that there. Or I could bring that down, put that there, put that there, and then put another bit across the top. That's actually quite nice. I quite like that. I think that would look quite nice. Quite pleased with that idea. So I'm going to sew around this, not sew around that, and I'll be back in a sec. Okay, so that's me sewing that. I was just thinking while I was sewing it, I've gone off the idea of the ribbon. I think it's just going to be too cluttered, and I quite like the simplicity of this. So you see, it pays to just think about things for a while. That's lovely as well, isn't it, that? It's really pretty. However, the squirrel wins the day. Right, let's ink around those. And the squirrel as well. Amazing yesterday when it was warm how eager people are to get, well, to wear next to nothing really. And so, some of the teenage girls that you see, they're just well, lost for words, let's say that. Right, so here we are. Here is Cyril the squirrel. So we don't want him right at the top, that looks odd. We don't want him down that far, I don't think. Just where you'd expect to see him, which is about there. So I'm going to stick him on there and, yeah, make a decision. Yeah, I think I must be getting old when you start looking at kids and thinking that they're dressed inappropriately. I think it's a sure sign that your years are creeping up a little bit, and that it's a very long time since you wore anything that was inappropriate. I tell you, once you start wearing flat shoes and big pants, you become invisible. You really do. I could rob a bank. Honestly, I could rob a bank and they would say, you know, have you got a description? Can you give us a description of this person? And they'd say it was a fat old woman. That's what they'd say. They won't be able to tell you anything at all about me, about my appearance, apart from I'm a fat old woman. That's it. I'd like to guarantee that, actually. I'd put the house on it. I would, actually. It's quite sad, isn't it? Marks and Spencer's, big bloomers, flat shoes, yeah. You've ceased being of interest to almost everybody in the world. Let's just check that that is square. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. So give it a good push down. I am using a wet wipe that's been allowed to dry out, and it's great for picking up glue that seeps out without leaving any mark at all. So there we are. Let's just press that down. Lovely. Happy with that. And this, where are we going to put this? There. I quite like it off centre. I'm not, maybe there, because this is the way it opens. So about there, I would say. Yeah, of course you can put yours anywhere you like. You could even put it over the squirrel if you wanted to, like that, which also looks quite nice. But I'm going to put mine down here. And I haven't sewn around this because it's just too little. It doesn't need it. Hooray! No, don't do that. Good job us using collal there, not something else that would have stained that. So let's just pick this up and have a look. Oh, put the lid on my glue. I think that's level, looks level to me. Lovely. So there we have it, there's the cover. Wow, how nice. As I say, you can do whatever you like with yours, you really can. That's going to go onto there, and I think it's going to look really, really nice for the type of journal that we're making. Right, so this is where this is going to go. So I have remembered, because I put those marks on. So if I can find my double-sided. This double-sided is a perfect thing to stick your ribbons on with. So I want to in a little bit from the edge and following that line there. Lovely, and I might as well put it on the other side when I'm here. This is the back. So following that line that you've marked and not quite to the edge. Lovely. That's that. So just press your, burnish your double-sided down. Makes it easier to get the back off, and it also gives it a much better contact, of course. There we are. Just lift the backing paper off and stick your ribbon down. So you want that fairly central to there, which is about, I think this is double-sided, on, you know, same on each side, but just check with yours just in case. So that's fine, that's there, and it'll get glued in with the front page as well, so that will be there. Ooh, this is shaping up nicely already. I'm quite excited about it. So back with the old collal. This Sugar Bell bottle that I have mine in is absolutely fabulous. Here in the UK they're quite expensive because they all get shipped in from America. And there isn't a retailer, I don't think, that sells these in the UK. There's an opening for somebody. So every time that, you know, you buy one, it's shipped exclusively for you from the States, which everybody knows the postage is just ridiculous. I really wish it wasn't, but it is. But I was lucky, I was gifted this one by the lovely Tony Vince, who had ordered 2 from America and only needed to use 1, and so she gave me this one, and I'm really, really grateful to her. Lovely gift, thank you very much. So I'm just going to take off some of this, just in the worst places, and I notice I haven't got a massive amount down there, so let's put a little bit more. Okay, so here we go with our Cyril the Squirrel and the very, very front. So there we are. It's absolutely nothing fancy at all, but it does look really nice. So I've just got just a little bit of seepage that I just want to pick up with my dry wipe. Make sure that's square. That's the thing about collal. Honestly, it's just the perfect glue. It's a really good hold once it's stuck, but it does have a little bit of drying time that gives you a bit of wiggle room, which we all need from time to time. And if it does dry, if you've got yourself a rubber, one of these glue rubbers, these are really inexpensive, then you can, any residue will easily come up with one of those. So there we are. What do we think of that? I really like it. I think it's simple but elegant. We haven't used any dyes or anything, you know, that people don't have. Right, so moving quickly along. I'm not intending to put anything on the back. I like to leave the back of my journals plain, so as you can put them down on a table and you're not going to catch it or anything. So, excuse me, nothing is going on there. So I'll just unpick the top of that, the backing of the tape, double-sided, put this on, as I say, once again, get it fairly central, like so, put glue on here, and let the good times roll. So make sure you've got some on the outside of the stitches, and try and get some on the stitches as well, because it is awkward. You don't need masses because it'll go all squelchy, but you do need some. Right, there isn't a top or a bottom or whatever to this paper, so just pop it on. Let's just have a check and see if that looks about right. That just needs to go up that side a little bit. Let's have a look. Yep, that's it I think. I'm happy with that. So just go around it and press it down. Press these edges down. Because they will be resistant. I don't know why, but they will be. And just let your hand, the weight of your hand, just press that central section down. Wipe up any glue if you see it. But as I say, if you don't worry, you can get it off with the glue rubber. Right, that's that. Another trick you can use if you have a brayer like this, and I appreciate that most new starters don't, so it really doesn't matter, but you can go over the panels, especially when they're big flat ones like this, and just, you're not really applying that much pressure, just the weight of the brayer really does the trick. And you can feel when you've done it, it feels much smoother. You know, you've obviously smoothed the glue out underneath there. So there we have it. Lovely. And we've just got this one final little piece to put in here. And I'm just wondering if there's anything we want to put on there. I don't think it's big enough really to put very much on at all. I think it's more a question of just putting it on. So that is what I will do. And then we will have a journal that's beginning to look like a journal, which is quite exciting. Exciting times. Once we get the cover done, then we can start with decorating the inside. Ooh. I just dropped that there, which is not what I wanted to do. My fingers are all gluey and they're sticking to everything. Right, so I want that about there. Just down a touch. Okay, that's lovely. That is lovely. Can't wait to wash my hands. They're just full of glue. You think you've washed your hands. You've used soap and water and, you know, given them a bit of a scrub. And then they dry off and you've got like these false fingerprints made of glue sticking to the pads of your fingers. Okay, so there we are. Let's have a look and see what we've achieved today. Let's put the lid on my glue first. Save it going all gungy. Okay, so there we are. There's our journal cover. Oh, it does look lovely, doesn't it? Imagine when we've got our journal in it. and you open it up and Mr. Foxy's sat there. Yeah, that's lovely. Oh, hello, Mr. Squirrel. Open up. Oh, hello, Mr. Foxy. How are you doing? Yeah, lovely. And we're the same all the way around. We've got this gorgeous little pocket here that's just waiting for something to go in there, but we'll find something as we go along. So all that needs to happen now is we need to line the inside, which we'll be doing on the next video. So thanks for joining me for this one. I think we've made some good progress today. I very much like what we've achieved. And see you very soon for part 4. Bye!